All right, we are live, and I am excited to be here today and excited to be together. I have a lot to share with you. I love this. Michael, you beat me in. That's great. All right, let me cue this up right here and get everything operational. We had a little technology glitch, and I think we've got it all figured out now. So would love to know who's in with us today. Now, first of all, if you haven't already done so, if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, if you do that, then what happens is any of your comments, when you make your comments, not only will they show up, but I'll see your name on there, and that's always really helpful. Be sure and do that. And we love comments. We love questions. I love to know who's in the room. So whether you're watching on LinkedIn, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, let me know who's here. Let me know where you are. Love to see who's in the room. Michael, it's always great to see you here. And I hope things are going well out in Salt Lake City. I'd love to be out there skiing right now. Okay, and we're about to kick it off, but if you're in the house, let us know where you are. Want to know who's here, want to know who is joining us today. Got the thumbs up from somebody, appreciate that. All right, during the program today, I have a lot I want to share with you, but feel free to ask questions, put them in the comments. I'm going to stop several times. We're going to go to the questions. We'll answer those questions. And let's see, Suzanne. All right. In Ventura. I'm glad you're here. Very good. Appreciate that. Jackie. All right, Jackie, it's good to see you. And thanks for being in here. I have a feeling you're going to ask a question that's really going to challenge me today. But it's great to have you with us today. David. All right. Yep. It's David Norris in Amarillo, Texas. I know exactly where you are, David. I hope you're staying safe down there and things are going well. I appreciate having you with us today. Jessica from Louisiana. I was in New Orleans for 2 years, so I know a little bit about Louisiana. Great to have you here. Awesome. Ashante. All right. Very good. Glad you are here. Welcome. Also, Louisiana. Very good. The Reverend Edwin is in the house. Look at that. Liberia, West Africa. You know, the last big trip I took before the shutdown, we were in Africa. And there's so many beautiful places in Africa. Part of my heart is always in Africa. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for taking the time. And Martin. Okay. Harlingen. Yep. Way down there. Martin, several years ago, I used to go down there and help a company develop leaders, Red Simpson, when they were operating that out of Louisiana down there and spent several weekends in Harlingen. Always had a great time. Thank you for being here today. Really appreciate it. And even from up in Canada, Quebec, love to see that. Thank you for sharing and thanks for being here today. Okay, so what's going on? I want to give you just sort of an overview of this workshop. This workshop, we've designed 4 sessions for this workshop. So we've got today, and then also tomorrow, Wednesday, at the same time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. And then next week, we will be also then on Wednesday and Thursday of next week at 3 o'clock Eastern time. You can do the math for your time zones. And during this time period, we really want to go deep into what I call the 3 big questions. And, here's what I've discovered. When I've had challenges in my life, when things haven't gone the way that I wanted them to, when I've struggled in my business, when things haven't gone the way that I wanted it to, something was off. And what I realized is that these 3 big questions, when you can ask them and answer them, seem to always get me back on track, and it accelerates what I'm doing. And I believe that it can help you get on track, stay on track, keep you focused in the direction that you want to go, and accelerate what you're trying to achieve. And so, whether you're a leader of a big company, whether you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, whether you work for somebody, whether you're looking just to get a little bit greater clarity in your life, the three big questions are going to help you do that. And along the way, it's going to position you to build a life of accountability. It's going to position you. This all falls under what I call pivot. And the whole thing is about pivoting in our life. Now, we've heard this word a lot during the pandemic. And most of the time when we hear this word, someone's saying, I got to pivot. I got to change what I'm doing. I got to try something new. And they're talking about a way of doing. Pivoting is not a way of doing. Pivoting is a way of thinking. And here's the thing. Action always follows belief. It always starts with how we think. And so during this workshop today, tomorrow, next week on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be asking you some questions that's going to potentially challenge the way that you think, because that's how we grow. We grow by changing how we think. And then this new way of thinking will drive the choices that we make, the decisions that we make, and it'll drive the action that we take. So I'm looking forward to it. And today we're going to jump in with the first big question. Remember, we all face challenges. I mean, I was talking with my accountability partner this morning about a struggle that I'm having in my life and in my business, and looking to get insights from someone else, and that made a difference for me. And so it's not that about the struggle. It's not that we have a struggle. We all have challenges. We all struggle. It's how do we face those challenges? How do we learn to overcome those challenges? And then how do we move forward? A few years ago, when we had the situation going on in Ferguson, Missouri, where the young man was shot and was killed, and all the people were out on the street, and there were riots. They were burning of buildings, and there were protests and all that. I went up there in that time. I went up one day, and I stood out on the street, and I just talked to people that came flowing by. I wanted to talk to people that lived there, because I wanted to gain a better understanding. And a gentleman came up to me that owned a barbershop right there in that area, and we started talking. And one of the things that he said to me really impressed me. He says, you know what? We all have problems. He says, rich people have problems, poor people have problems. People in this community have problems, people in other communities have problems. It's when we get the time to take the time to get to know each other's problems that we can help each other solve those. And so my point is this: we all face challenges. It's not always a bowl of cherries. The question is, how do we connect with our true self? How do we connect and grow to be our best self? And that's always going to go through a time of pivoting the way that we think, because we align our thoughts right, then we're going to take the actions that we need to take. Okay, Sean White is in the house. Wow, I am so excited to have you here. Thank you, Sean. We grow by changing how we think, thus changing what we do. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're quoting me, and I am honored in that moment. Sean, it's great to have you here, and great to have you as we talk about pivoting. So thank you for that. Okay, so for those of you that are new that don't know me, I am Sam Silverstein, the founder of Pivot. And the Pivot is a course where as an online course where we take 8 weeks, and I personally coach you through deep dive, applying the three big questions in your life and or in your organization, so that we come out with crystal clear clarity around specific things that we need to know exactly why we're here and what we should be doing at any moment in time. I've written 10 books on the subject of accountability, leadership, and personal growth. And it's from that I really want to share with you today the message of really, I believe, what's going to impact your life. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 3 big questions. But before we do that, I have to start with this question because you know me, I'm always about accountability, and we got to talk about accountability just a little bit. So the question really is, what is accountability? Now, I'm going to make it real simple for you. Accountability, simplified, it's keeping your commitments to people. That's it. It's keeping your commitments to people. And there's a difference between responsibility and accountability. We're responsible for things, but we're accountable to people. We're responsible for things, but we're accountable to people. And it's really important to delineate because accountability is not a way of doing. That's your responsibility. Accountability is a way of thinking. Okay, so now let's see. We want to get to the 3 big questions. We've laid that foundation. 3 big questions. And the first question is, what do you believe? So the first of the 3 big questions is, what do you believe? And this is just, it's critical that we get crystal clarity on that. So let's do this. Let's go to the board. And I'm going to light the place up. And we want to take this. Okay. First of the 3 big questions. What do you believe? Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going, Sam, what do I believe about what? Well, it's real simple. What do you believe about everything? What do you believe about your capabilities? What do you believe about why you're here? What do you believe about the people around you? What do you believe about the possibility that your children have? What do you believe is important for the safety of your parents at this stage of their life? What you believe about everything drives your action. It's our beliefs that drive all our actions, and we need to know what those beliefs are. Now, I run into people all the time. They tell me, oh, I know what I believe, and this is what I believe. But then you watch them, and those actions don't necessarily align with those words. And you know what I'm talking about. And so if the actions don't align with the words, I'm always going to go to the actions. The actions will always tell me what you really believe. But let's focus on this a little bit because I think that I can give you some more clarity. Specifically, we need to know what we believe about our core beliefs. We need to know what we believe about our values. What are our values? We need to know what we believe about our purpose. And we need to know what we believe about our mission. It's in these 4 areas that we gain the clarity that we need to make consistent decisions that allow us to move forward to become our very best self. And that's what it's all about. Every day we wake up, my goal is simply this. I want to be better. How can I be just a little bit better? The people that I work with are already doing amazing things, but they have one thing in common. They all want to get better. It's that continuous improvement that we're seeking. And that's what's going to make a difference. Okay, your core beliefs are inward facing. Your core beliefs are inward facing. Your values are outward. Let's see if I can get this correct here. Make it easier for everyone. Your beliefs are inward facing. Your values are outward facing. Now, it's the values that we connect on. You see, we can all believe different things, but the values are what people connect on. In an organization, people don't connect over the product or the service. People connect over the values. You can go to the mosque, the synagogue, the church, the temple, wherever. And when you sit down and you look to your right and you look to your left, I guarantee you those people believe different things. But it's the values that we can connect on. So, what do you believe? Core beliefs, values, purpose, and mission. Now, your purpose is your why. Your values are your how. And your mission is your what. So we need to know what it is that we're trying to achieve. That's the mission. Your mission is your purpose in action. We need to know why we're doing it. Well, because it must serve our purpose. And then we need to know how we do it. And we do it through our values. Okay. So let's come back up here and let's see if there's some questions. I want to address any questions that you may have at this point, but I have a lot more on this that I want to share to you. Let's see here. Okay, Michael, believe in being true to oneself, serving others too. Yes, we have to be true to ourselves, true to our values, and on purpose, which we're going to talk more about. If there's more to that question, let me know. But we can't go against our values. If we're living our life and we're not in alignment with our values, then I'm questioning, A, are those really your values, or what else is going on in that moment? Repeat about mission. Okay, so here's the thing. Your purpose is inward facing. Your mission is outward facing. Your purpose is why you're here as expressed in the service of others. And so your purpose is never to make $1 million, to build a huge business, to be able to drive this car. Those could be goals. And those goals are great goals, but they're not your purpose. Your purpose is always going to be what gives you fulfillment, and it will always be expressed in the service of others. And so it's really important that we have that understanding, because there's a difference between goals, and there's a difference between that and with your purpose. Okay, so if you need more, let me know. Hopefully that answers that for you. All right. Values, core beliefs are inward facing. We work to discover what that is. Values are outward facing. That's what we connect through. Your purpose is why you're here, as expressed in the service of others. It's always going to be in the service of other people. And it's always what's going to bring you joy, and it's what's going to bring you fulfillment. And sometimes people throw the word happiness out there. Oh, are they happy? Happy is somewhat of a construct. And the construct, for the most part, is built externally. Buy the latest pair of Nikes, you'll be happy. Drive this car, you'll be happy. Live in this neighborhood, you'll be happy. The question is, are you fulfilled? And the fulfillment is always going to come when you're aligned with your purpose. Okay, David, let's see. You got a question. Does purpose equate to strategic intent? No, I don't believe that purpose equates to strategic intent. And so your strategic intent is probably going to be more aligned with your mission. And it depends on how you are defining your strategic intent. But strategic intent is what you're trying to achieve. And I see that more as a tactical aspect. Your purpose is not tactical. And so, just to give you an idea of myself, and I'm happy to share. My purpose is I spent a lot of time on this, and in the Pivot course, we deep dive. Everyone in the Pivot course leaves with a written statement, a unique purpose statement. And it's critical that you have this in writing. My purpose is to help people discover their potential and be the best they can possibly be. That's my purpose. Now, how do I step that out? Well, I'm going to be stepping that out through my mission. And the mission is what's going to attract others to help me do that, because it's the mission that's outward facing. People don't even need to know my purpose. In a business, the purpose may just be 2 or 3 key people that know the true purpose. Not that it's a secret, but it's the mission that people attach to, because the mission is outward facing, and that becomes a much more tactical experience. Michael, purpose gives you, well, when you're on purpose, it's fulfillment. When you're on purpose, when your activities align with your purpose, that's when you're achieving fulfillment. That's when your bucket's filled up. I know I've seen people that retire and they don't know what to do. And that's because they never really discovered their purpose, and their profession wasn't necessarily attached to their purpose. Their profession was attached to a paycheck. And attaching a profession to a paycheck instead of attaching it to a purpose is not going to bring you fulfillment, and doesn't leave you in a place when you retire to discover what that fulfillment is. Nothing wrong with a paycheck. Nothing wrong with a great big paycheck. But there has to be an attachment to purpose if it's going to give you the fulfillment. Sean always has something wise to share. Being happy is in the happening. Okay. Yeah. So exactly. And I've just kind of gotten to the point where I'm really focused more on fulfillment. If I'm fulfilled, if it's in the happening, then it's much more of a tactical thing. Fulfillment is much more visceral. It's much more deep inside, and it's much more sustainable once we understand what brings us fulfillment and the joy that goes with that. So, all right. And look at there, my good friend Eliz. Sometimes the purpose is what the paycheck allows you to do. Well, this is true. You know, you need money sometimes to do things, but boy, when you can earn that paycheck and you're on purpose doing it, like I know you are, for instance. Now, for those of you that don't know Eliz came out with a book. Today was a release day. Stress Proof Your Life. You see, Liz, I keep this right close to my heart. This book came out today. You want to learn why you have stress in your life, how to eliminate the stress in your life, how to live a healthier life, how to achieve your success by eliminating stress. I'm telling you, it's in this amazing book. You're going to love it. So don't walk, run to Amazon, get a copy of Stress Proof Your Life. Okay. Thank you. I didn't know you were going to be here today, but I do appreciate you. Okay. Not necessarily what you do to earn the paycheck. Okay. Yeah, but I look at what you do, Eliz, and I look at what I do. What I do attaches to my purpose to help people discover their potential and be the best they can be. Now, my mission is to build a more accountable world, and I serve my mission through 3 specific activities. I teach, I inspire, and I support, and I have definitions of what all that means. And we don't have to go into that now, but the point being is that people are attached to that mission, and I realize that I serve the mission through teaching, inspiring, and supporting, and that's always going to align with my purpose, and that's what brings me the most fulfillment. I am feeling most fulfilled when I'm right here, or when I'm in the pivot course and people are going through the course with me and they're finding discoveries about their purpose and their mission, and that's when I find my joy to be the greatest and where my fulfillment is at the highest point. Okay, so let's move on. I have a little more that I want to share with you today. Let's go back to the board, and all right. So now let's move past this, and let's come down here, because we talked about we need to know what those values are, and I said I was going to talk about values today. It's interesting. We got into purpose and mission a little bit more. I wanted to focus more on values today, but there's a reason we talked about purpose and mission more, and that's because I find that so many of us, we just don't have the clarity around that we need. And it's that clarity when you know it and it's in writing and you can look at it every morning before you start your day. And so you align your activities during the day with that. That's when you supercharge what you're doing during your day. I did want to talk a little bit more about values because I promised I would talk about it. So I have to deliver. And when we talk about our let's do this right. Non-negotiable values. A great set of values isn't just filled with great words. A great set of values has more than that. It's a set. And so to create a set of values, they need to connect in their entirety to 4 specific areas. Now, one value may connect to 1 or 2 areas, one may connect to all, doesn't matter, but in its entirety, we need to connect to all 4 of these areas. And so what we have is we have foundational values. Foundational values talk about the character of an individual. In an organization, foundational values talk about the character of the organization. Earlier we saw my good friend David's in the house from Amarillo and former COO of Happy State Bank. Happy State Bank is known for their values, their set of values, and they have values that are foundational values on there, like integrity. And so that's a foundational value. Then 2, relational. Relational values. Relational values talk about how we get along with people. In an organization, you need to specify internal relationships and external relationships. We have to look at both because here's what I know to be true. Your relationships, your experience that your customers have, your clients, can never be better than the experience that the people inside the organization have. 3, professional. Professional values, your professional values. What is excellence here? What is the standard that we're known of? And then 4, community. And your community values, they talk about how you connect to and support the community that you live in. And that's really important. And I see a lot of value sets that have 1 or 2 of these. Some have 3, but a lot of times, many times, they don't cover all 4 somewhere in that set of values. And it's critical to cover all 4. It's like a stool without a leg. You take one leg and it's gonna tilt over. And so when a value set has all 4, then it's a full set, a rich set of values, and it's something that people will naturally be attracted to, whether you as an individual or you as an organization. When you have a set of values that's a great set of values, I always find that there's foundational values, relational values, professional values, and community values in there. Okay. Back to the questions. Let's see. Any questions? Michael Perlman. Let's see. Read my last question, please, Sam. Outward versus inward. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're getting at, Michael. When I say outward versus inward, I'm referring to inward facing means it's something that I deal with, that I'm aware of. It's like my core beliefs are for me. I'm willing to share them, but they're really for me. I need to have an understanding of that. I put them into values. The values are outward facing. That's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to interface with. And in an organization, it's the same way. So inward facing means I'm gaining understanding and clarity for myself because I need that. And then I do need the values for myself also, but that's what's outward facing. That's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to either connect with or you're not going to connect with. And so that's what I mean by inward facing and outward facing. Jackie, clarity is sticky. Yeah, you know, when you gain clarity, then what happens is, you know, when we have clarity on something, then we can step it out. And when we have clarity on something and we're stepping it out, the people around us see it. And especially with our mission, when there's clarity in that mission and we're stepping it out, then those people who align with that mission are going to want to come alongside and help you achieve that mission. And so when you know what your purpose is, what happens is my life, Jackie and I could intersect. And if I align with her mission, I'm going to want to help her achieve her mission, not just my mission. And there's nothing wrong with helping multiple people achieve their mission. And the reason you do that is because it's going to be aligning with your purpose. Eliz, you're right. Thinking about all far important. We get busy doing and forgetting to really pay attention, especially the community part. Yeah. Now, Eliz, here's the thing. And I know you're big on giving. The community part is what is some of the most powerful glue in bringing people together, because we connect through community service in a way that's very unique. And I've seen this in organizations over and over again. You know, you can go to the golf course and play golf with somebody. You can go out to eat with them, have lunch with them. But man, go down there and provide service with someone, and the conversation changes and you connect on a deeper level. And so the community is important. It's important to support the community that we live in, that we work in, that we derive benefits from. A. B, when we do that with other people, we connect in a much deeper, more meaningful way. And that's what builds deeper relationships. And that's what accountability is based on, both individually and organizationally. Clarity is power. Love that, David. Thank you. Sean, I'm buying a second copy of your book, The Accountability, and giving it to a friend. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Okay, well, Sean, we need to talk about that, and maybe we should do that offline. And what I'm going to do, though, is I'm taking a screen capture of this, and so I have this question afterwards in case there's any glitches in the recording, and then we'll talk about that offline, Sean. Reach out to me, okay, my friend? Appreciate it. All right. Great. Eliz, oh man, everything you say is always on track. Always. Love it. Thank you. Great. All right. Let's see. We had a few questions. I appreciate everything. Real quick, what's the difference between policies and values? I get asked this question a lot, and I'll sum it up. Policies, you know, we were working with a client once, and we were helping them construct a set of values for their organization. They had some values where they wanted to start from scratch. Halfway through the process, the CEO of the organization said, "We really value community service, and that's a big value of ours." I said, "That's wonderful." My assistant said, well, then he went on to say, "You know, in our policy manual, it says every employee is eligible for 2 days paid off to perform community service." Wow, that's cool too. So my assistant goes, "How many paid days did you have last year in the organization for people that perform community service?" This is an organization that at that time, they were about 355 people. Nice size, you know, they were doing great. He looked to the person who was in charge of that. She thought about it for a second, and her answer was 0. They'd had 0 paid days for community service. And that's because community service was a policy. It wasn't a value. If it's a value, it has to be showing up. If it's a value, it has to be showing up. And as soon as we help them write it as a value and start stepping it out, then they were performing community service all over the place. I was getting email after email after email, links to articles in the newspaper where their people were performing community service, links to videos where from the local newscast where their people were performing community service because it was a value. Sometimes people ask me, Sam, is a value where I'm at or is it a target? And it's both. If it's not showing up in your life, then it's not a value. It's hard to tell me you value something if you're not doing it. You might want to value it. You wished you valued it. But if you really value it, then it's showing up. And it's also a target from the sense that, look, we can all get better. Remember, I said that's how I start my day. How can I get better? Because, I mean, I mess up a lot. I mess up a whole lot. I mess up a lot more than I wish I did. I have too many of those learning experiences, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, we want to get better, but your values need to be showing up in your life. And a couple of the questions, some of the things you should be asking yourself, I certainly would be asking, and I ask this in Pivot a lot in the course is, okay, that's a value. Where is it showing up? Share with me where it's showing up. Because you need to be able to answer that. And then the next question you should ask yourself is, how could it show up better? How could it show up better? And when you focus on that, you're going to find that you're going to enrich that value. It's going to become a significant part of who you are, and you're going to be stepping it out on a regular basis. Michael, knowing ourselves, for me, 4 things in life, both personally and professionally: relationships, engagement, integrity, and gratitude. Without those, can't be me at all, and depth of character. Love that. Love that. Now, I love that. Let's see. What you value expands and deserves your attention and the people around you. Absolutely. Yes, David, I totally agree with you. Let's see here. Another question I get asked a lot is, do I need to put my values in writing? And you don't have to have your values in writing for them to be your values. But what I find to be true is that when they are in writing, then you have much more clarity. And the challenge is that, especially when it's more than just you, what does it mean? We work with a lot of organizations helping them refine or define their values. The number one value that I find in value sets around the world is integrity. Now, everyone defines it differently. And so we might be similar in how we define it, but exactly how you define it is going to dictate exactly how you step it out. So yes, they need to be in writing. When I worked on my values and integrity, respect, significance, how I define those words are critical. I'll give you, for instance, my definition of significance. I create meaning in my life and the lives of the people around me. I look for ways to create significance for my family. I make an effort to get to know people. I look for the potential in people and whom I come in contact with. I encourage people. I participate in my community and work to make a difference. There's a lot there. That's my definition of significance. And in the morning when I'm thinking about this, or at any other time during the day, I go back and look at my definition and say, hey, are you hitting the mark? Where are you coming up short? Where could you be better at this? And it might be the piece on the community. And then what? Well, we do something to shore that up. So yes, putting it in writing is powerful. Okay. And then another question that I get asked a lot, for those of you that work in an organization, what happens if my values do not align with the values of my company? This is key. Your values need to align, and that's the key word, is align. Do the values of your company not agree with, or do your values disagree with the values of the company, not align? And I'm not talking about the values that are on the piece of paper. And the reason I say that is because there's very few companies like a Happy State Bank out of Amarillo, Texas, or Beaton Bow Homes out of Lubbock, Texas. And there's others that have a set of values where they live those values to the level of non-negotiable. It means everyone lives the values. We don't make exceptions based on your last name or your title or how long you've been with the organization or what you look like or where you got your degree or how much rain you make, sales that you produce for the company. Everyone lives the values. If there is not an alignment, then it's very difficult, in my opinion, to stay in that sort of an organization. Now, they could have values that are different from yours, but as long as they don't violate your values, that's what it comes down to. So I like Michael, get out. Yeah, you know what? I get asked this question a lot by leadership that's at the middle stratus of the organization. And they go, so, I'm living the values, but what about if my boss didn't live in the values? So I believe there's two problems in business today. And I realize in the pandemic era, things are kind of crazy. So look beyond that for the moment. The two problems in business is that we don't fire people fast enough. People aren't doing their job. And if they've been trained to do their job, they have the resources, and they're still not getting it done. They're not fulfilling their responsibility. Why do we let those people stay? All we're doing, if they're not living the values, why do we let them stay? And then the second problem in business is we don't fire businesses fast enough. If the place that you work isn't living by a standard that you want to be known for, don't stay there. And I'm not saying quit your job and go hungry. Don't get me wrong. No, I'm saying plot your next move. There's opportunity out there. And if we would leave those organizations that are not stepping it out properly and went to the organizations that are, then people would learn, hey, we can't operate this way. And maybe some of them would go out of business. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Yes, you do have to protect your family. Yes, you do have to keep food on the table. But you can also plan and make sure that you're working for an organization where your values are aligned. And I believe that that's important to do. Okay. Any other questions today? I want to make sure that we get to all your questions. Here's, we started out, we set the stage for these 4 workshops, and they're today and tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern time. And then also next week on Wednesday and Thursday, 3:00 Eastern time. And we're going to focus on the 3 big questions. I'm telling you, this is going to rock your world. And the first of those 3 big questions is, what do I believe? And that's what we talked about today. And we said, what do we believe about our source? What do we believe about our beliefs? What do we believe about our values? What do we believe about our purpose? What do we believe about our mission? And when we have clarity on that, and as was aptly said, David said, clarity is power. When we have clarity on that, then we're able to step our life out. We're able to move quicker. We're able to be more comfortable. Eliz would probably agree that we probably going to have less stress because of that clarity, because when we're aligning our actions with our purpose, that's a natural stress reducer. And that's where we get the fulfillment in our life that we're seeking. So I hope the conversation on that was really helpful. When we also talked about our non-negotiable values, and we said a great value set is comprised of foundational values, professional values, relational values, and community values. And when you have a set of values that connects to all of those, and some values can connect to more than one, then that great set of values is going to give you the how that we need to step out our life and to step out our business. So, I want to encourage everyone to join me tomorrow. We're going to get to the second of the 3 big questions, which is, what do you focus on? If you're interested in deep diving this in your personal life, please go to mypivotlife.com. We are about to start the next pivot course. I would love to have you in there. And in the pivot course, I personally take you through 8 weeks of discovery. It's self-paced. through video lessons and a workbook. And then we have live sessions where you get coaching from me. Love to have you be a part of that. If you have questions after the live stream, or if you watch this in a recorded state, put your questions down in the comments. I'll look for them and I'll either answer the questions offline, or we'll answer the questions tomorrow at 3:00 Eastern time when we get into the second of the 3 big questions. I want to thank everybody for being here today. I greatly appreciate you. Stay well. Have a blessed afternoon. Take care.